you can see this is a nice, simple communication tool for discussion with the relevant stakeholders on how we were structuring this particular piece of work. They could see logistically when things were occurring in the year. We could have a debate about, could we do that in parallel? What about if we take a bit longer on that because it would benefit the organization? Those kind of discussions were easy. If I'm using project, like you're seeing it here, I could do it live. I could add in things as they were suggested. Very often people don't like this, so we could just take, we can effectively just PDF this. We could take a PDF version, put it into a PowerPoint slideshow, just to communicate the Gantt chart, that picture of activities over time. So quite nice, quite useful, brilliant for what if that takes longer? What if we do this? I've seen versions of equivalent things done in Excel, and whilst as a static communication tool it's fine because we can color in the bars and we could create something very similar to this in Excel. Where Excel would really fall down, unless you're got some serious SAD expertise in it, you wouldn't be able to do what Paul and I refer to as what-ifery. What if that takes longer? What if that runs over? What if that occurs? Could we insert some more tasks there? Right, that brilliant live scheduling capability that's within the software, that's a real bonus. So here's the software. I'm going to go File, New, and I'm going to create a blank project. Right, so you should see, when it stops spinning, you should see an out-of-the-box blank Microsoft project screen come up. Right, so I'm just going to put the tasks in, and you'll notice heaps of defaults in play there. Microsoft project, and you see we're straight into Gantt chart. So defaults, I didn't tell it one day, you know, they're all coming in at one day because it's set up in the file options. It's all pre-wired, and I will often go in and tweak these durations. Why is the question marks there, Lauren, on these durations? And why do they disappear when I hit the...
Because you're putting in, when you put in the exact date, it's basing off of what, you know, on the date, that your time and stuff that you're putting in. So it's putting a question mark there because it's not sure, but it's just going to put in your flat duration rate.
Absolutely right. So it's effectively saying I've just put this task in at one day just because I need to give it some duration to put it in there. So the question mark is sort of saying this is an estimated duration. What do you want? So as soon as I overtype, you can see the question marks go. Do notice a key thing on the Gantt display. As I put the tasks, as I convert them to 0 days, do note the notation. Note it's a diamond. Recognize standard notation. When we've got a milestone, it turns to a diamond. Note another default is that they're all starting on today's date. I haven't said anything, but the default is they will start. It is pre-wired to start everything as soon as possible. So everything will go as far left as it can. Right? And as far left as it can go in this sense is today's date, which is obviously the 11th of Feb. So it can't start anything yesterday unless I do some manipulations, which I have done in the past. Right, we would then go to the predecessor column. Right, all young people will be brilliant at this sort of thing. So you can see me linking the tasks up on the Gantt chart area itself. Right, just by clicking and dragging, and that's brilliant until they all start jumping across to the right and disappear off the screen. So that's pointless. So we would use the predecessor column and we would type the numbers in the predecessor column because it's less likely to have errors. I'm not bothered where they jump across to the right. I have thought through the logic. So what does that 1, 2, and 3 mean, Holly, in the big jumper?
I think the predecessor you've got on there is that the next activity can't start until the completion of the line item above.
That's, oh, perfect. Line item, love it. So that was spot on. So that's saying if I read across, the assembly task is 4 days. It's currently scheduled to go from the 23rd to the 26th, and it follows line 3 or line item 3, which is the purchase. So that's in essence saying it comes after the purchase task. So that's spot on. Accommodation, if you look at your Gantt chart or anything you've done, or the network more specifically, accommodation follows design. So that's line item 2 using Holly's terminology, spot on. Installation follows assembly and accommodation. So that's 4,5 because that's following 2 tasks, and you will see the bars whiz off to the right. Marketing follows the start. That's the first task. So that's line item 1. Training follows design. That's line item, no, it's not line item 5, it's line item 2. So that's gone to there. And then we just need to recognize, and sometimes people leave these off, the final milestone. We can't say this project is complete until installation, marketing, and training are all complete. Those are line items 6, 7, and 8. So we would put 6, 7, 8, return. And we have finished constructing that project, that mini project. We've just put the tasks in. I'm going to create a summary bar on this by putting in you can tell somebody's just hit the caps lock. Right, so I will put that in and indent these using the green indent button. Right, and that gives us effectively a top line which tells us the overall duration of 21 days and gives us the overall start and finish dates, etc., etc. Absolutely fine. And of course, we went on a bit further and we put the critical path on. So you can see that's highlighted. So critical path, just a formatting job there. We put the slack on, or float as we prefer in this country. And because the formatting of the Gantt chart area is such that the link lines clash with the slack or float lines, I'm taking off the link lines there. So we have created that project, that Gantt chart. Please recognize the fact, crucial, that you recognize that it does have to do this, doesn't it? It has to do this. Nobody ever wants to see it, right? Because it's really dull. But there you can see that's the network diagram. So it does have to do it, but it's almost as if it's just given to some sad people in the back office to do this, because Microsoft only wants to show you the Gantt chart because that's what you want. But it has to do the network diagram. See that it still aligns to the diamond notation, although they're slightly stretched, so you can get some text in. Right, and this is just the default out the box view, so it automatically highlights the critical path for you. Paul and I would criticize it because it joins up the arrows. We hate that, because we would argue if you're getting start to start links in there as well and finish to finish links, if you're getting more subtlety in your scheduling, that starts to get a bit confusing. But that's okay. So that's the network diagram. It has to do that before it creates the Gantt chart, but of course it can do it at lightning speed. So that's why you can see the Gantt chart straight away.